Hello, it's me again, Maria from MLB Reborns. Today we are discussing how to mix paints, and it is step number 8 in my 12-step plan to creating a reborn doll. And so right now, this is the 4th video. If you haven't watched videos 1 through 3, I suggest you go back and watch those so you can learn what the first steps to creating a reborn doll are. And this is all about paints. So right now we are going to discuss the blushing layer and the 3 last layers that I put on my babies. The blushing layer consists of red, white, lip, blush, and nail, and some of this thinning medium. And I think I have the lids on the wrong jars. So let me fix that. And again, I use a tiny bit of the odorless paint thinner Mona Lisa. And I'm going to mix in some of each of these. And again, I need to go get my brushes. I cannot believe I'm doing this today, ladies. What is wrong with me? I'm going to need this one and probably this one. I apologize, but I am not with it today. And I think that's it. I think these 3 will work. Okay, so the first layer we are going to cover is the blushing layer. And when I say blushing, you would apply it to the cheeks. You could make stork bites with it. You apply it to the bottom of the feet, the tips of the fingertips. You apply it on the elbows, the knees. I will make a separate video showing exactly where the blushing layers go, but for the purpose of this video is just to show everyone how to mix the paints. So let's go ahead and get some of this color into the container here, and that was the lip, blush, and nail color. And this is some red. And again, this layer is considered what I call my strawberry color, strawberry pink. And for the purpose of the actual blushing layers, I like to mix in a little bit of the thinning medium, and that's because it thickens up the paint. I can't explain it, but this thinning medium actually thickens it up, and so that helps it stick to the vinyl where I put it. And then I use either a brush or a cosmetic wedge to move the paint around until I get the look that I want on each of the areas that I apply the paint to. Okay, and I think we're good on that. Maybe a little bit more of this. And there we go. So that's it. It's a little bit thicker than usual, and that's because I added some of that thinning medium, so it's already thickening up. And this is what I use for all of the blushing on my babies. And there you have it. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's move on to the next layer, which is the strawberry pink layer. And this is going to, okay, so I'm thinking out loud. So this is the layer that I use to apply all of the blushing. So once I'm done with the blushing and I've already baked my pieces, I'm happy with the way all of the blushing looks. I've done the feet, the hands, the fingertips, the stork bites, the ears, the face. Everything is done as far as the blushing goes. Once I'm finished, if I still have some paint left over, what I do is I add more of the paint thinner right into the container and thin it up. Okay, so I end up with a much thinner consistency of the same color. And there it is. And I apply one layer of this paint to the entire kit. Okay, so you will paint the head, the limbs, and this is just one layer of it. Okay, and let's move on to the next one. The next one is the yellow layer. Okay, so I will use Genesis yellow and white. Okay, so I put in a little bit, I put too much in there, little bit of the paint thinner, some white, sorry, I'm out of the frame. This is some white, and then some yellow, okay, and if it is too yellow, I just add a little bit more paint thinner. And I think I might need a little bit more white. Okay. And after I mix my yellow and white, I add my matte varnish. This is what's going to seal your entire kit. And it gives some texture to the vinyl feel. Okay, some people use matte varnish, some people use satin varnish, some people use the thinning medium as a sealer for their kits. I prefer the matte varnish. I like the way it looks, and I like the texture that it gives the baby. Some people do not care for the texture that it gives, so people move on to something else. But I myself do like it, and so I've been using it for ever since I started reborning. And as far as how much to use, I usually load up my brush pretty well, about that much. Okay, and I just mix it into my paint. And you want to really take the time to make sure that the matte varnish is in fact blended into your paint really well, because there are large pieces that sometimes go in there. They get lost in the paint. So you want to just move your brush around and really make sure that you get all of the pieces that you loaded onto your brush. And so there it is. And this just adds a warmth color to your baby. And it's thicker than most of the layers that you added because of that matte varnish. So make sure you really go in there and blend and get all of the different pieces of matte varnish that you dropped in there. And once it's all nice and mixed, then you put one layer of this paint onto your baby from head to toe. And that will seal the paint and give it a nice texture. And there it is, yellow and white. Okay, and then as the final last layer of paint, I use, and I know you're probably thinking, shouldn't the matte varnish be the last thing on the baby to make sure that it's completely sealed? The matte varnish, as long as you add it to your kit, it doesn't matter at what step you do it. If you add it at the beginning, I have created reborns where the matte varnish is the first thing I do to the kit. It just makes the paint adhere better to the vinyl, and it seals it whether you put it at the beginning or the end, so it doesn't matter. I've done it both and I have had success doing it both ways. So the last layer of paint we will do is a mix of yellow, just a tiny bit of the Genesis yellow, okay, and burnt umber. And I just take a tiny bit of that and mix it in there. And you get like a shade between a little bit of an orange to a brown. Okay, and that is the last layer of paint that I add to my kits, and that's what it looks like. And there it is, ladies. That's it for step number 8. I know it was a lot of paints, a lot of mixing, a lot of blending, but that is what it takes to paint a reborn doll. So I hope you enjoyed all of these videos, and I hope you learned something new, and I cannot wait to make the next one. So I will talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.